All right, guys. Luckily, I caught my wife getting ready to can some more stuff. So, what do you got working on here?
That's ground chuck. Normally it's $4.99 a pound, and but it was on special for $2.99 a pound. That's $2 off per pound, and can beat the price.
Yeah.
So I'm buying enough. Hopefully, I think I bought 10 pound, close to 10 pounds of it, which would filled up 10 pint jars, maybe with some left over. I don't know, because I have 4 packs of meat, and I only opened 2 packs, and I put it in here, and I season it with the Montreal steak seasoning, and mix it up a little bit. But out of the out of the 2 pack, I already filled 3 jars, and still got quite a bit left. So I may wind up with more than I expect.
So you're actually putting them in the bowl and season them?
Yeah. Roughly season it. About, I would say, about one teaspoon per pound of meat. It may be, but you don't have to. Some people can it without season it. And some people like to cook them first, season it, brown it, or whatever on the stove top, and then they get rid of all the fat, and then they put it in there in the jar, and then they add water to it. To me, when you do that, you lose a lot of flavor, and when you have nothing else to eat, and all you have is rice or pasta or something, you need that fat. And you need the juice, the flavor from the meat to make your food taste good, because otherwise it'll be a very boring food to eat.
So then, once you put it
So
in a jar,
this is what I do. Okay, I take it and I put it in there, and I use my little rolling pin and stuff it in so that get rid of as much. Can you see? As much air as I can, and then just keep pushing it in. I like it raw packed because when it's done, 70 minutes in the whatever the pressure that require for your altitude, meat is well done already.
right?
But if you cook it and then you can it, still, even whether it's cooked or uncooked, when you can it, you still require 75 minutes. And if you, by the time you cook it and then you can it, you're not going to have any meat texture left. You're going to have what I call the glorified part of meat. And if that's what you want, fine. But me, I like some texture. So, but whatever you like. But I find it the raw pack is the easiest, the fastest, and actually retain a lot more flavor and texture.
And it creates its own juice, right?
Yes, that's right. I don't.
Is that why
I
you don't fill it up all the way?
No. Well, yeah, it will create its own juice and plus grease, and don't ever add water to it. I never add water to it, and then sometimes the meat may be a little dry on the top, but it has its own juice, and it has all the flavor. But you put water in there, all the juice gonna get pushed out while you're canning it. Like every time I can meat, I didn't put any water in my jar, but then I'll still find, meat juice and fat all over inside the canner. So that means that if you put water in there, it's just gonna get pushed out.
Right.
So you're losing flavor to your canner. Quite often, I was like, oh my God, if I have a absolute sterile canner when I put things in, I would make good use of that canning water.
Right.
But no. But since I cannot guarantee that, I was like, oh, what a waste. Well, it looked like 2 packs, and that's a too small a pack, and it got me 6 jars, so I might wind up with more than I expected. Okay, now let me show what I did. Is I just take it, open it up, and just dump it in. Ooh, that's a lot. This one I might have to do it separately by itself. And then I'll take the seasoning and kind of roughly and just sprinkle over it. And some people, they just, put the meat inside the jar and then they sprinkle their seasoning on top. That's fine too. It could be as simple as you want or as complicated as you want. Me, I kind of like as simple as possible, but I do like to have my food seasoned before it's cooked. So, this one needs just a little more. And basically, when you get all done, you just make sure that the rim of the jar is clean. You put your lid on and you put in the canner, and you're ready to go. Simple, 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 simple. And I have also picked up some ground pork for $1.99 a pound, and I'm gonna do basically the same thing, because then you could use it for taco. You could use it in your pasta sauce, whether you could make it into spaghetti sauce, or you could mix it in with your Alfredo sauce, or you could just make gravy out of it, meat gravy out of it, or you could stir fry vegetables with it. You could flavor anything. You could make probably pot sticker out of it if you don't mind that your meat is already cooked. You can make meatball out of it. Just your imagination. Or hey, worst comes to worst, just pop the jar that since you're hungry and you can't wait for anything else to cook, you could pop the jar and then just spoon it out and eat it.
Right.
Anyway, we'll show you when we start canning. Come back later. All right, we've got it all packed in now. This canner, I only have, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8 pint jar. It only could accommodate 8 of wide mouth one. So I have 8 ground pork in here. And over here, I actually have, let's see, that's 10. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, I got 10 also pint jar, but it's regular mouth. See the difference? That you could accommodate 10 pint jars if it's regular mouth.
Yeah, to
regular
wide mouth.
Yeah. So, but I got the 23 quart canner here which will accommodate 2 layers of pint jars. So I got the rest of the ground beef here. These are all ground beef for the regular mouth, and I got 3 more wide mouth that I have to put in on this side, and I need to clean it up.
And how are you cleaning them?
First I use wet towels, clean up the mouth. Make sure that no meat or grease on it. And when you do that, it also actually kind of help you feel the rim of the jar to make sure that it's not chipped. Because if it is chipped, it will never seal. And I dry it with the dry one first. I like to do that. Again, that's kind of helped me make sure I feel the rim. And then this one got the vinegar on it. And that's
straight vinegar?
Yeah, straight white vinegar. And the purpose of it is to, in case if there's any grease left, that will help take it off. Of course, honestly, I don't even know if that's really needed, because if you think about it, when I put this with the lid on and I put in there, then by the time I get done, which I'll show you, that inside my canner would be floating in with the grease. Okay? So that means the grease come out of the jar. Well, but it's still sealed. So what does that tell you? It just makes sure that you just got to make sure that there's no debris on it.
Right.
But maybe not necessarily that you cannot have any grease on it. Because the
Well,
grease...
a lot of times the seal doesn't happen until you pull it out and it starts cooling off.
No,
right?
but what I'm saying is while during process, the grease coming from your meat will get forced out.
Right.
Right? So that means that, well,
But it's
obviously
still
the grease...
Okay, so even though the rim may still be greasy or whatever because it was forced out, it still seals.
Yeah. So what that means is that does it really...
It's kind of a waste of...
is that a necessary process? I don't know. But I'm not going to argue with it. But but my logic tells me that part, isn't... But, people follow the directions, whether...
That's very true.
So and then basically also that you just finger tight. Actually, that might be too tight. What's finger tight? Also, what it does is that when you finger tight, that means it's not real tight. Then that way, when the pressure builds up and it push the air out of the jar, then it has a way to escape. That's how the grease comes out.
Right.
But if you got it too tight, and then the air cannot come out, I think that might be what caused the failure in the process, because the air cannot come out.
Right.
So then it won't process properly. But that's my logic. So I'll put these 3 cans of pork in there. Now.
Okay, so there's pork in these, and there's
the regular mouth is beef,
and
ground
then you
pork.
got 3 pork.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you line up the V right there on the lid and on the handlebar here. And then just tighten it. And that means it's ready to go. I'll put it on high. And then this one here, excuse me. And then this one, again, you line up the V. And tie, and another thing that I usually try to make sure I check, because one time I didn't check and this valve actually got stuck.
Okay.
And the pressure won't build up. And I had to turn it off and take the top off and rattle a few times,
Right.
make sure that it didn't stick, and then it worked.
So always check your rattler thing.
Yeah. No, that's the valve.
I know, just kidding.
So, okay, then we'll...
Come back when you get up to temperature.
Oh, what am I doing? Yes.
So
When...
here, it lit. Did it light? Yeah.
Yeah. Because I had it on already.
Okay.
Wait. And so what we are gonna waiting for is for the steam start coming out from here, and the valve pops up.
Okay.
And then suppose after that pop up, you're supposed to count for 10 minutes before you put the weight on.
Got it.
But usually you cannot catch the 10 minutes, and I don't want to waste time. So quite often, as long as that pop up, I put the weight on, and But
so
I
far.
could be wrong. You gotta figure out what's acceptable, and you feel safe about it. Then you do. You gotta figure out your own way. And I'm comfortable as long as that pop up.
Right.
I'll
but
put the weight
it's
on.
worked for you so far, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll be back.
All right, we are back, and you can see that the steam is coming up, and the valve is up. So we count for about 10 minutes, and that's the 9:53. And unfortunately, this one, the burner is a lot smaller, so it's not even steaming yet. So it'll be a while for this one. We'll come back later. Okay, like I said earlier, I usually don't wait for the 10 minutes, because the way I look at it, that once this valve pops up, then and all the air means it has been pushed out already. Otherwise, this one will not pop up. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the weight on. and then watch the pressure start going up. Now once it reach 11 right there, just a little bit past the 10, and then we could start adjusting the burner to turn down the heat. And we'll let you know how it goes when the time comes. We'll talk to you later. Alright, now the pressure gauge show is way above 11 pound per square inch. So I already lowered the burner down to about medium high heat, but as it goes up a little bit more, I will lower the temperature down. I think I'll bring it down from let's see if we could see this, down to about 4. It was all the way up to, like, say high, which is about 10. So I bring it down to 4. And if it's it should, the pressure would actually still keep going up, and then I'll slowly bring it down to between 2, maybe just a little bit above 2. But we could start counting the time, and so let's say that it's 9:55 and 75 minutes. That would be 11:10 when this should be shut off. And then this one have reached, the steam had come up, and I put the weight on already so that you could see the pressure start going up a little bit just in the last few minutes. So we'll go from there. See you later. Well, the small canner, the 16 quart one, finally reached the pressure, so we could start to turn it down a little bit. Maybe reduce the heat by about 50%. Went from high to number 5. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see. Anyhow, we're gonna let it continue to go, and then we could start doing the time for the smaller canner. So 75 minutes. That would make it 11:15, 11:21. So here's my husband will call my Maypad. So as you can see here, this is what I used before. So I got the 11:10 for the large canner, and then for the small canner that will be 11:21, I say. So let's put it down. 11:25. Oh no, 21. Sorry. All right. We'll come back. So there's my timer. I just gotta watch it. We'll see you at 11:10. And as I was saying earlier, we need to check your pressure gauge on the regular basis. Right now, it's way above what required for altitude, and usually this rattle, the weight will continue to rattle, like you could see a little bit, and you could hear the hissing sound. Then that means that your burner is still a little bit too high. Your heat's still a little too high, and I'm already have this one down to 2 already. And what I can do is just adjust a little bit, and you can see how small the flame is. And then this one, once it reaches its pressure, it continues to go up. So now I need to also adjust this down to just a little bit below 3, because it had just reached the pressure, so I don't want to adjust it too quick. Alright, come back later. Well, it looked like I'm a few minutes late to turn this burner off for the large canner. So we're going to go ahead and turn it off now. And we're going to let the pressure come down by itself without removing the weight. And then after the pressure is completely dissipated, then we could open the top. And this one still got another 9 minutes to go. I will come back later when it's all decompressed. Then we'll show you what it looked like. All right, thank you. All right, the pressure gauge is all the way down to 0 now, and then the valve has went down already, so we could remove the weight. And now, open it carefully, and basically tilt it away from you, so that let the steam out, and let it go for about 10 minutes. Then we could start removing the jars from the canner, and then we'll be back in 10 minutes. All right, I'm ready to remove them.
Oh,
They start popping already. So let me get this here.
And I gotta tell you, it smells so good in here now. Oh my goodness.
And instead of put a towel here
Uh-huh.
to soak up the liquid or whatever that might still be on the cans, I just use these old papers. That way, when I'm done with it, I could just throw it away. Nothing to wash.
So we got one of the beef and pork.
This is the pork.
That's pork.
And you see that they're still bubbling.
Mm-hmm.
And you see how much juice they are? I didn't put any liquid in there.
Yep.
See, so there's no need to put any liquid in there. Alright, and let me remove this. Where's my chopsticks? Okay, excuse me. Need some chopsticks to remove this. You see the grease right there?
I can see it. I don't know if we can see it on the camera. Oh, just got steamed
Got
up.
steamed.
Sorry. Had to blow on it a little bit.
Wow, all the lid are so loose now. I mean the ring. Here, let me show you real quick here. Can you see it? See how it bubble, still boiling?
Oh yeah.
And look at all the juice.
Yep.
I think this time it's not as bad because I didn't fill the meat all the way
Yeah.
up to the collar. I leave a little bit more room
Uh-huh.
so that I'm not losing as much of the juice. Which is, that's a natural broth.
Right. Yeah, we don't want to lose any of that as much as possible.
Okay, I need to make a little more room here. You see that the lid is, the ring is loose.
Yep.
Running out of room here. And then now, this one is ready to come out too. See?
12.
Thank you. And when you're canning, when you hear that pop, that's like music to your ear.
Oh yeah. Like one more down.
But see, you could see this one here, it's already been popped.
Yeah,
It's
there's
flat.
No dimple or whatever.
You couldn't see that.
Actually, no,
This one hasn't
that
popped
one-
yet, but these
those
two
two, yeah.
popped.
Oh,
Oh,
that
that
one
one
just
just
did.
popped.
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah, you can see some
Grease floating.
grease.
And
grease
this
in
is
there.
actually pretty good because sometimes when I can other meat and I got a little bit too full,
Mhm.
or like like up to where they say leave an inch.
Right.
Well, when I do leave 1 inch, I will have grease everywhere, but that's okay, you know.
So, how much did you do?
I
How many
have
pounds?
well, let me see. I got 2, 4, 8, 2. No, that's 8. So I got 11 wide mouth pints of pork.
Uh-huh.
So that is I think it's over 10 pounds, not quite 11 pounds. And then I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I got 13 pints of ground beef.
Right.
And these, I think these about probably 11 pounds, 12 pounds, not quite 12 pounds of meat. Each pint takes a little bit, I think like 0.9 pounds of meat,
Mm-hmm.
uncooked, you know. So it's probably just right amount for two of us,
Right.
you know. And I do like to can it in a quart jar, but only problem with it, well, the reason why I like to do it in a quart jar is because you only use one lid, because the lid is hard to come by now, right? But then again, once you open it, you got to make sure that you don't mind eating the same thing for a couple of days.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you forget, then it sits in the refrigerator. It might go to waste. So I prefer not. So I decided to go ahead and do most of them on the quart jar.
Yeah.
I mean pint jar.
Pint. Yeah.
But anyhow,
Yeah.
we'll show you what it looked like tomorrow once it's all sealed and everything, and then what you have to go through to clean up the jars for proper storage.
Right. So main focus is just teaching you guys how to feel comfortable with the actual pressure canners, and hopefully that helped, to give you an idea of just what, just pretty much how easy it is. Really, you just got to get over the fear of actually
I was
working
scared
with
to death, but about using the pressure canner.
them.
But my fear of not having food,
Right.
like I said before, I grew up so poor, not knowing where my next meal gonna come from, and being almost have to be on the keto diet most of the time. I know that if I don't have enough meat in my diet, my health will go downhill.
Mm-hmm.
So my fear of not having food, and then I have to eat food that's gonna cause me health problem, kind of propel me to better can up more protein.
Yeah. Just
And-
to be ready for anything.
Yep. And the vegetables, you could buy the canned vegetables.
Yeah.
For-
There's other videos of how she's prepared canned vegetables and how they've turned out really good. And if you can find them, at a decent price or on sale, whatever, buy up as much as you can, and save these jars and these tops and these lids
For protein.
for these proteins, because these things are hard to come by now.
And like remember earlier we went to the store and we see a small can of corned beef for like almost $6.
Yeah.
Right? And it probably didn't even weigh as much as any of these jars. And the pork was only $1.99, the ground pork $1.99 a pound. And right now, like Kroger has pork butt for $1.59 a pound, pork loin for $1.99 a pound. And so basically, any jar would only cost you $1.99 or $1.59 plus the jar, and the jar you could reuse, right? So how many jars of meat you could put away
Right.
by not buying that one can of corned beef,
Yeah. True.
and you could eat for so many more meals.
Mm-hmm.
So convenience is good, but economics is even more important.
Right.
You know, how do you make your money last longer? You know, you could put a lot more food away by canning it yourself. And so, after a couple times of canning it, I kind of figured out how I had to pay attention to the pressure canner. And once I got all that figured out, it was so easy. I could go do other things and come back and check and whatever. And before you know it, it's done. And so now I got 20 pounds of meat put away.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy because that's at least 20 meals right there.
Right.
So anyhow, I hope that helps you. And if you have any questions, just ask.
Yeah.
And we'll try to answer
leave
it.
a comment and we'll get back to you. And
But thank you for your support.
and we'll see you tomorrow when these cool off and see how they look.
Thank you. Good night. Hi. Let's get back to these canned ground chuck here and canned ground pork here. As you can see, that they all settle and gelled up. All the fat is solidified somewhat right here, as you can see. And these hamburgers definitely got a lot more fat. But anyhow, some of them, as you can see, that white spot on the canning lid, that's the grease that drip from the top layer of the cans. So that means that these jars are pretty bad. They're very greasy. So what you do is you remove the lid, the ring, and it's gonna get fat. You're gonna have fat all the way around inside the ring and around the rim here, or at the, how you say it. Anyhow, you know what I'm talking about. Basically the grease is all the way around here and around the lid, and of course all over the jar. Now what we have to do is I would usually take a piece of paper towel and wipe as much grease off before I start washing it in the sink. And I would use hot soapy water and wash them off and rinse them off and then let them dry before I put them away. So I'll show you when I'm done. But basically, like I say, you just gotta make sure that you clean around here. Let me take a little piece of paper and wipe it off. And I don't know if you could see or not, but it's like grease. It's like right here. And if you don't clean it up, you're gonna get mildew around outside the jar, and that's something you don't want. Not that it's gonna affect the food inside, but it makes you feel worried when you see mildew around your can. So anyhow, make sure that they are clean before you put them away. All right, and I hope that is helpful to you. And store as much as you could afford to put away, because with the grain price going up and big flooding in China and around the world, when the people gonna have not enough rice or corn or soybean to eat, that's the last place they're gonna send to is to feed animals. So that means that the meat gonna become very expensive. Besides your rice and beans and whatnot, it's gonna get expensive. And you know, people say, "Oh, stock up on rice and beans," but I'm sorry, it gets very, very boring when you eat nothing but rice and beans, without any protein, without any fat. And please, don't go buy no lean ground beef, because once you can it, that beef gonna taste like overcooked cardboard. Have some fat in there, because the fat is what provides flavor. And in times of need, that fat is gonna help you stay satiated so that you are not hungry. And you not get grumpy because you didn't have enough protein or fat in your diet. So anyhow, take advantage of the meat when it's on sale, and can up what you can, and put away for yourself and your family. And be safe, and be prepared. Have a nice day.